Okay. So yes, where last we left, you guys got back to the Anchored Fortune, and you broke the staff, Terramore's staff, and burnt the book, basically, and you're up and away off into the clouds. And if you remember the way the ship looks, it's basically a blimp-type air balloon with a ship suspended down onto it. And then there are two extraordinarily large ogres in the hull of the ship manning two very large dragon-esque wings pushing the air to the side as it propels it forward. And we've all already made our rolls for the trip and everything, so you guys are all good to go. As you guys get closer and closer to Lane, the captain will come up to Korak and he will ask you if it's safe to land close to Lane or if he thinks you should land outside of Lane, because the watchman thinks at this range that he has spotted an abandoned or at least some kind of encampment that is outside of the city lane, and it might be a little safer to land there first if we're expecting, like, to get shot at from the city or something like that. All the crew is visibly nervous by approaching Lane too closely.
How far out of the city would it be?
I would say probably about 15 miles.
Okay. So shouldn't be too long of a run into the town.
No, especially not on horseback.
Let me consult with the others, but I believe that would be the best option.
Yeah, I'd rather not get shot out of the sky in an airship.
Yes.
I trust my horse's legs more than that air balloon, so I'll have no argument from me.
Except they sure didn't buy a horse.
I'm going to assume Dane would agree with this course of action. He'd probably think it's fairly wise to do as well.
Yes.
So again, we go through this scenario where the way the ship stops is it basically they shoot this large torpedo-like spear out from the back of the ship, and it buries itself into the ground, and you hear like a fishing pole, but 50 times the size of the drag of this thing getting pulled from the ship. The whole back end of the ship vibrates with this, with the force of it, and there are 4 or 5 people on either side of it, pulling levers gradually and braking on the line to slow the ship down. And then once it gets to a good resting spot, it will they'll lower it a little bit by letting some of the air out, and then 2 more spikes come shooting out of the sides of it to anchor it to the ground, and then they drop the big traditional anchor down onto the ground, and then ladders will fold out for crew members and whoever wants to get off to get off.
Okay.
And this time they're able to get low enough to the ground where they can release a ramp to let any animals or beasts of burden off as well, or equipment.
Okay.
I think by this point, Teresk would already be with the horse.
Okay.
And when the ramp, when he heard the kind of clunking down here, kind of released the mechanisms to let the ramp go, and he'd be kind of already there, like with his horse ready to be untied. And
I imagine Tarask is back there, and this whole like landing and flying, this whole ordeal is really uncomfortable for the horses. So he would notice this. Make an animal handling check to see if you can keep the horses from being too gun shy about all this.
Okay. Do we still get that boost, or is that just for while flying?
That was just for the checks, because Ishtar was hopping around the ship, keeping everybody's morale up.
I'm going to use a luck die.
Okay.
So that's going to be a 14, thanks to my 1 on the luck die.
Yeah, 14's enough. It was just a standard 13 difficulty, so you're able to keep them all fairly well calm, and none of them are going to go stampeding off of the thing as soon as they see light. Your presence is calming for sure. I wonder when
Korak would also go down to Bloodfire as well as we were landing. So.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to mention too is that Daniel, while you guys were on the ship, would have performed some curative magic on you. So your wound, you're back up to full, and there was enough time there where you could have rolled endurance every day and gained enough anyway. But Daniel would have helped that process along with some curative magic, which you didn't know he had until he performed it on you.
That sly devil.
Yes, he's full of surprises. But not the ultimate surprise. That he is the one behind everything. I might be kidding. I might not.
It's always the librarian.
You don't know. Oh, there's Dane. He's back. All right, Dane, we've landed the Anchored Fortune, and you guys are just getting ready to check out this encampment that is roughly 15 to 20 miles outside of the city lane. Okay. You are unfamiliar with this encampment. You've never seen it before. It wasn't there when you were at the city.
Okay.
And we decided to do this rather than approach the city and get shot out of the air.
Fair enough.
So the sun was going down as you guys were approaching this city, or this encampment rather, and by the time the crew gets down and you guys get into this encampment, well, you could all make perception checks as you go into the encampment and investigate, see if we find anything of particular interest.
Let's see. It's 46.
17 for Korak.
14 for Isteran.
So investigate would be a what?
Perception.
Yep, there's just a straight perception check as you guys are taking this in for the first time.
Okay, so intuition.
Yep.
17.
Okay.
Nine.
Your attention, Tarask, is focused more on the animals and making sure everybody gets off and off the ship and everything. So you're not particularly perceptive of this particular encampment as you guys are going in there. Ishtar, what did you say you got? Was it 14?
Yeah, I got a 14.
14. Korak, what did you get?
17.
17. So you and Dane both got 17. You three would notice that this camp has the structures that are here are ones that were very hastily built, it would seem. They do seem old, and most of them are either burnt out or demolished completely. There are a few buildings. One that you could surmise was the base of operations, a command tent, if you will. It's wood, but basically the big heavy doors that were on the front of it are torn down and part of the wall is missing, but for the most part the rest of this building itself is intact. As far as anything is inside, there's nothing of real value inside. There's a table you can prop up and use. Anything like pages or maps or anything of value is long since either burned or looted out of here. All right. And you guys notice something that Ishtar doesn't notice, and that is that they're not fresh by any stretch of the imagination, but the mud on the ground is formed in such a way where you can see the shadows of footprints. You can tell that this was once a very heavily trafficked encampment.
Could I use my tracking skill to see if I could come up with some sort of idea of maybe how many people were here? Were they humans, dwarves, elves, mixture?
The number of people, no, but the size of the foot size to determine different species and stuff like that you could do, yes.
Okay.
And that would be
So that would-
intuition tracking.
Okay. And I got nothing. I got a 10 on a 5d6 roll.
You're like, I
Ouch.
think they all wore Nikes.
All right.
They all look the same.
Air Jordans.
Yeah. So the bottom left, not the top left hex that is next to Lane, that is the hex that you guys are in. You are just south of Lane. And you're roughly halfway through that hex, almost dead center.
Okay.
Oh, this is the perfect time. I completely spaced out on this. During the trip to Rask, you were having some dreams, some recurring dreams. One that was recurring to you the most and sticks in your mind the most was you would find yourself sitting in the middle of a completely black room, and you were sitting on this old wooden floor, and then something in front of you, a light lights up in front of you, and what you see is a little puppet stage, almost like a child puppet stage. And then from somewhere unknown, from the top, comes a little puppet on strings. Not ventriloquism, what is it?
Marionette.
Marionette, thank you. A marionette comes spooling down on some strings, and it hangs there. And then you see one of its most defining features is its long brown hair. It is clearly a woman marionette. And then every time you wake up from this dream, because you get closer, because you want to see what this marionette is, and you keep getting closer, and then at the last moment it lifts its head and it stares at you, and it has your mother's eyes, and it has its mouth completely taped shut with some kind of gauze or bandage. And then there have been other times where it's been a little bit more disturbing, other times that it's felt a little more gentle. But that's what you get from it. Basically, it's this marionette of your mother with her mouth forcibly closed with some type of implement.
That's interesting. So he would, he'd probably be deep in thought for much of this, at least in the beginning, that weighing on his mind.
Okay, Caleb, you're back. So, you guys have made it to this encampment, and you determine, unless there's anything else you guys want to do, night has fallen, and it is time. You're not going to get anything done, really, here during the nighttime, unless you go out on horseback with torches to do anything else. But you're pretty well tired at this point, and the end of the day is upon you.
I assume we have our horses with us.
You do. And Ishtar, you would be granted a kind of a loaner horse if you really needed it. It's more like a donkey, or a pony, but
That fits Ishtar better, probably a donkey.
You mean a jackass?
Exactly.
yeah.
You see Dane reach into the saddlebags of his horse and pull out this massive tent. Said, I figured if we're going to be in this together, might as well make sure we're all accommodated for.
Bunk buddies! Yay!
7-man tent.
Ishtar shrugs his name, sure.
Yes, Daniel will have remained in his room on the ship, and much of the crew stays on the ship. However, you do have a small contingent with you, roughly, 10 men who are there to help you set up camp and perform basic tasks for you, such as getting firewood and the like.
Since that's all being handled, Tarask is going to kind of take his bow and kind of just jog up ahead, just to kind of keep a little bit of a sentry.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing while he runs up ahead and does that?
Korak would make sure. Oh, sorry.
I guess Ishtar will get his crossbow out, but besides that, there's not much he can do.
You go to bed.
Do we have like a campfire going, right?
Yeah, you've got a campfire going.
So Ishtar will pretty much just stay by the fire with his crossbow out.
Okay.
I'm actually going, since Ishtar is staying there by the fire, I will plant my quarterstaff by him and say, if you're going to stay up and keep first watch, I will keep this here for you to alert you. It will alert you if there are spirits nearby.
Ishtar points at it and says, yeah, if it glows, it's bad.
Exactly. If it glows, it's bad, and you need to holler for us.
A good idea. And he'll kind of like situate the staff like where he can see it from where he's standing.
And
Korak would make sure that Bloodfire is well taken care of and rubbed down, and that he's probably like happy to be off that ship. And then once that is taken care of, he'll try his cooking skills.
awesome. Roll a, let's see, for cooking. Did we determine if that would be logic or intuition?
I think intuition would be much better.
That's because he has a higher stat in it.
Well, depends on if you're baking or cooking. I mean, baking is
He
math.
cooks by feeling and scent and smell, not by book knowledge. So yes, intuition.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's a pure artiste.
Yes, exactly. Connoisseur, if you will.
Yes. Okay. 21.
Very nice.
Nice.
You were able to cook some of the meat in a way that even Laban would be proud.
Actually, since it's related to cooking, those 6 would have exploded.
Do it.
Because it's my... And another 6, so that's 27. 31.
Yeah.
Total.
I mean,
That's a really good meal.
the guys that came down here with you, the 10 guys, are happy they came down here with you because the food is actually better than most of the stuff that Laban has been producing. There's something about the wood that they gathered, like it imparts this great flavor to it. And yeah, they are all just like, oh my word, dude. And since you're from, across the land, they're like, do all orcs cook like this? Because there's stuff in their faces.
Of course.
Oh, and they're all really convinced that that's got to be the case. So, Tarask, you're heading up, and you're just kind of doing a patrol.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the surrounding territory like? Would there be a logical spot where I could just kind of stand watch, or would I need to patrol in order to get a good idea?
The encampment seems situated in such a way to have no defensive or strategic benefit whatsoever. It seems like this place was hastily put together. As to why is anyone's guess. Dane, why don't you make a history test?
Logic history, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you see Tarask kind of surveying like what the best route to go is, and then you start to contemplate like, what is this place? What was its purpose?
Okay, 46. Just need one more Need one more point in history, and I'll have that extra. But we'll see what this does for us. 11.
Okay. With an 11, you don't actually know. You're just not drawing anything, but your best speculation would be that this would probably be a place that was set up after the attack that you were there for, as a kind of a stronghold of survivors that came out and they tried to reassimilate to form a front to retake the city or something like that.
So you say almost like a refugee camp?
Yeah, but more geared towards battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no so it'd be safe to say there's really no lay folk here.
Oh, there would have been any remaining survivors, but the intention is to you, you're seeing the command building as like, okay, this looks like a command building that could have been built by the people I knew when I lived here. You know, there's clearly there was some kind of central command and like maybe other barracks that have been burnt down and stuff like that.
Okay. Do I have an idea about? Is there a rough idea, or can I tell about how long this has been here? I mean, I know based on my character, you know, he spent he spent 8 years in the monastery. So I mean,
yeah, and that, I mean, with an 11, you think that might line up, but you're not.
okay.
You're not 100% sure. Maybe some things throw you off. That. Yeah. So, Tarask, as far as the rest of the terrain is concerned, it's all flat land here. The only, if you look at the map, the only terrain is some a lake that's just outside of the city to the north, and then some high grasslands that are up to the northwest. And
so since there's no defensive position, he's basically going to spend his time, like you had mentioned, kind of patrolling and looking for tracks, just trying to gain any insight into, you know, their surroundings and where they are for the night.
Okay, then as the night presses on, Ishtar, Korak, and Dane, are you all hitting the hay, getting some rest? I will say that if you choose not to, you will wind up being exhausted whenever you wake up.
Where are we going to stay in terms of health by the end of this night, provided we get a full night's sleep?
You should already be at full. You might not have been there. Yeah, you might have had to step away, but the Daniel would have healed you for a little bit, which was something you didn't know he could do, and then the time spent on the ship, there would have been enough time to regain all of your life back.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to roll it for every single day. All right, Rory, just let me pull one more thing up, and then I'm going to have you roll an intuition perception check for me. But instead of a static score, it's going to be opposed.
Is this? Oh, okay. So it's not tracking.
Nope. Nope. You're just patrolling. You're keeping your wits about you. And they have.
So that's gonna be a 13.
13. Oh, be interesting. Ooh. As the night presses on, and you patrol, there are a few things that catch your attention, but every time it does, you notice it's... I forget, does Tarask have dark vision?
No, elves in the setting do not.
Okay. So Yes, you're fairly certain that whatever that was, it was something that, a bush or something kind of, it was a small little animal that scurried off into another bush or something like that. There are a few bushes around here. I know it said it's flatland, but I mean, there's some grass and bushes and the like. So, it isn't until...
No trees really to speak of?
What's that?
I said no trees really to speak of?
No trees to speak of.
Okay.
Nope, not here. So, it isn't until halfway or 3/4 of the way through the night that you do hear something that concerns you. And it sounds like footsteps. And it sounds like a lot of footsteps. You can't see out far enough to see what is coming towards you. But it sounds like something is marching towards you.
Is the staff glowing?
It is not. You're asleep.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I started to sleep. Never mind.
Okay. Tarask is going to use nature's camouflage.
Okay.
And he's going to become effectively invisible at a distance of 30 feet or greater.
Perfect.
And he's going to he's moving at half speed while using this, move towards the sound.
Okay, so their stealth check was equal with your perception check, so they were a bit closer than you had initially anticipated. So as you get closer, I want you to roll another perception check as you get closer to the sound. Ooh,
20.
yeah, I got a 6. So
Nice.
yeah, you go in like completely invisible, right? You're dark, and you move ahead towards the sound silently, and then you stop for just a second, and you hear the marching sound. The marching is it's not like military march. It sounds like the patter of many, many feet. And then another thing that you hear, it sounds like slavering, almost like dogs.
But I can't see anything, right? Because it's too dark.
Right.
So yeah, he's going to, with the staff in his one hand and his bow in the other, kind of start to retreat backwards and try to make his way back towards camp.
Yeah, you have no problem making it back to camp before they do. They are rather hot on your heels, though.
So yeah, I'll come moving in, and I'll kind of whoever's the first person that's part of my party that is in the camp, I would kind of shake awake. So let's say that's Ishtar. And I would, Ishtar would kind of come in. I think I would just kind of like boot you in the thigh, like just kind of kick your thigh over and just be like, get up. Something's coming this way.
Ishtar wakes up. No, it wasn't me. What?
And as he's doing that, he'll Korak, Dane.
Just so they have something that's
Okay, I awake.
All right, so I see. It's always Tarask was like emergency. So Ishtar, once he regains, gets up, gets a weapon, and gets ready.
Yeah, and that stirs a few of the men that are with you, and they will. Korak, I'm assuming you got woken up as well. Yeah.
Yes.
None of you are exhausted. You got enough sleep, so you're good to go. A few of them go about the camp, and they relight some torches that had been put out for the night. They brought standing torches to light during the night and all that sort of thing, and they relight them. And when they do, you see yourselves completely surrounded in a circle by gnolls.
Okay.
Okay.
And Tarask is going to kind of glance over his shoulder at Ishtar and just be like,
which I thought was good.
you think they're here for you?
And then she could play what?
Ishtar goes,
I got her a stick.
who knows?
And the rest of stacks.
Do I actually?
So there's 10 rooms.
No, we can't really see him though. It's kind of way too well.
spear bearer.
They're long, but not that long.
Yes.
So, like,
L.
you know how the pants have the inside piece?
How long
Like,
I've waited for this moment. I've played it in my mind over and over. I've been watching you for some time. Korak.
Do I
You see-
recognize the voice?
Step in to the clearing, to the campsite. A black cloak pulls back to reveal a cerulean blue face. One that you might find familiar, except it's weird and gnarled, disfigured terribly. Come now, Spearbearer Korak. You must remember me.
Korak, when he comes into the light and he removes his hood, and you get a good look at his face, he does indeed look extraordinarily gnarled. But you have a bit of a flashback to the ending of a fight that you had in the gladiatorial arenas, where you step to the side of an opponent as he thrusts towards you with a gladius, and you run the end of your spear up along his right arm and into the right side of his face, and it just completely devastates him, and he falls to the ground screaming in total agony. And in a moment of contemplation, you decide not to finish him off. Because at this point in Korak's career, you decide you might gain a little bit more renown for not actually killing this person. So after that moment's passed, you gloat in your glory and you depart the arena, and medics from his pit come rushing to that man's aid. And you would recognize him as Locrius.
Locrius. Okay.
You should have killed me when you had the chance, Korak. Why? Why would you not give me a warrior's death? You ruined me. But you also gave me a gift. He waves his arm, the arm that you mutilated, that you completely destroyed, disgracing this man. And as he holds it up in the moonlight, you see that his fingers are not fingers, but this strange, writhing mass of tentacles. He forms sort of a makeshift fist with it, and it transmogrifies and grows long into a blade. You've given me the gift of hatred. And now I will ruin you. Make your preparations. He raises his arms to the gnoll retinue that circles him. I shall have vengeance this night. Ow! He gives perhaps in Gnollish. I don't know if they speak another language in this land, do they?
They would know common. They
I
couldn't
think you
speak
could
it.
say something in Knoll, though, also like to them, like Nurachmor, Narafro.
Yeah, totally.
Up. And he starts peacocking around the ring in this makeshift gladiator ring, intent on destroying Korak the shield bearer. Excuse me, the spear bearer.
Okay.
if you'd like.
So I show you mercy, and this is how you repay me.
Mercy? You show me mercy? I became less than nothing. I became a worm, a festering carbuncle on the underbelly of humanity. But look at me now. I've been given a wonderful gift. I am more than man. I am more than man. I shall
Okay.
destroy you, but I shall take my time. And to the rest of you, my fight is not with you. Do not interfere. or my lackeys will eat you alive.
So Korak will start spinning his spear.
Okay.
How many gnolls do we see?
Your best guess would be, it's hard to say, probably somewhere between 50 to 100.
Yeah.
Tarask is gonna toss
Dane.
Dane. Dane, I'm gonna toss you back your staff here.
Okay.
I think that should happen.
Yeah,
This.
I probably catch it.
And Tarask is gonna book it for the horses. He's worried that the presence of the gnolls will set them running, so he's just gonna go and kind of grab their bridles.
Yeah, basically the gnolls are fairly close to the horses, and they are all, some of the gnolls are up to their hindquarters, like trying to taste them a little bit, as though they would love to eat them right now, and you come over and you're able to pull them away and calm them. Actually, make an animal handling check.
That's a 14.
Yeah, you're able to calm them again, and they've grown familiar with your voice now, and they follow you without hesitation. So, Korak, if there is no more dialogue to be had, is there?
No, I think dialogue is done. Weapons are out.
Okay.
One sort of connected, so.
Locrius, when you see him withdraw his staff, you see this insane piece of equipment. It's not bladed like a normal blade. They look like teeth. And it's a formidable weapon indeed.
Well, it seems you've learned something since our last meeting as well. I'll tell you what, once I've beaten you within an inch of your life, perhaps I shall grant you mercy as well. And if you bend the knee before me and bequeath that weapon unto me, perhaps I shall spare your life.
Roll initiative. Locrius, I'll send you what to roll here.
Yeah, just tell me, because I've never played the system, so I'm going to try to be as quick with it. What should I roll?
If you pull open our direct message, I've got the values there.
Okay, here.
Okay, question: do we all need to roll initiative, or is this for just Korak?
Presumably, right now, this is just for Korak.
Okay. All right, guys. My son's giving me drama, so I will be right back.
Okay, no problem.
22 for Korak.
I add all of the dice that I rolled up, right?
Yep.
I got 25 total.
Okay.
All right, that settles that. I got to pull open one more thing here so I can track. Wonder where it went. Yes, so as you both, there we go, begin encircling each other, Locrius gets the first action.
So I feel like he would want to make this as official as possible. This is an individual bent on revenge, just driven insane with the bloodlust of revenge. And so I imagine that perhaps the gnolls even have like a gong or a horn or something to signal to start. And as soon as it starts, like lightning, you see him dart forward through the darkness. In 3 long steps, he's upon you, and his right arm, like a blade, slashes out. I'm going to use the first form that you showed, the machete form of the blade, to try to slash out at him.
Yep, you did need to expend a move action, so this time you'll get 1 attack. You dashed in, and then you're attacking. So I'll give you the attack on that, and that is...
You know what? Here, I'm going to do this. Would you mind if I use a dice roller? I have a dice roller on my phone, and it will be much quicker than me trying to do arithmetic.
Yep, I've got a digital one up right here for that reason.
Okay, so given that total that you gave me, I got a total of 23.
All right, Korak, does that hit?
That does not.
Ooh, by how much does it miss?
By 1.
Yeah, so he comes down with this blade, and he is fast with this thing. He comes down with it, and it just catches your garment, and a piece of it flutters by you as it falls to the ground. That's his 2 actions. He had to move in close to get to you. So it is your turn.
Okay. So since I am right there, and that is, I can do a full round attack. So I come in, I crit on this one.
Okay.
I rolled my double 6s, so that the deadly critical goes in. So do I need to add it up?
Oh, no. If it's critical, it's an automatical hit. For you, Locrius, if you roll 3 6s, it's a critical hit, and you automatically hit.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, I should roll physical dice next time.
But does your dice roller actually give you the numbers?
Oh, you know what? There's a different function that I can do. No, I just did. It's like a calculator. It's just, but I can do it next time. For next time, I'll do it that way.
Okay, so for that one. Okay, so that's 12, 17, 18. I have 2 6s that explode. 24 points of damage.
Good lord. All right, hold on. I need to get a calculator out because we're dealing with much higher numbers than usual. Okay, so he comes at you with his first strike, and he catches you on your left arm this time, and he bangs the bladed part of his spear against your shoulder and opens up a slight wound. You have another attack.
Yeah, so I spin it around, come from the other side, and that one did not crit. 18, 17, 18, 19, 22.
He is able to duck out of the way of you coming back around with the spear on the other side.
Okay, and then I bring the butt end up and come at the groin. And that is 10, 15. I missed on that one. 4 1s on that roll.
All right, Locrius is up.
Nursing the telling blow that sunk into his side, he deftly sidesteps away from this devious, dirty groin shot. In a flash of blue and black, he spins around, and with quick and precise strikes, he aims for the back of your legs, trying to hamstring you. So I'm going to try to full-out attack and take out this motherfucker's legs. So what should I do?
All right, the last one that I posted there is what you're going to roll. I'm assuming you haven't changed your arm yet, so that's going to be your roll for it.
All right, that's what we're going to do. Here we go. So the first one is going to be... Damn. So there's 2 6s, so I guess it's not a crit, but the grand total was 33 on that one.
Yep, that one's gonna be
wow.
That one's gonna be a hit. Here is the damage.
Let me look at the other chat to make sure I rolled the right thing, because that seems like a lot. Hang on. Okay.
That's
oh no, that's it. I did it right.
That's the damage right there.
Okay. So that's 8 points of damage.
Okay, you notice as you cut into him with this sword that much of that is blocked away by either his armor or his thick hide skin. But since you're using the machete, you have another 2 attacks you can use.
Gotcha, and indeed he will. So that's a total of 26, no 6s on it.
Yep.
That hits.
Same damage.
So that's 13 damage for the second strike. And the third strike will be no 6s, but a total of 27.
That hits as well.
And that the damage on the third one will be 11 points.
Okay. So what was the second damage?
13.
13. Okay.
Hey, Nathan, I asked in chat, just more out of curiosity, in this system, how big are these gnolls?
They are about 6 to 6.5 feet tall.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just at this point in the battle, Tarask.
106 that.
Oh, what?
Go ahead, Trask.
He has approached Dane. He's handed him his bridle, and he's approached Ishtar and handed him Korak's bridle. And to each of them, he just said, "We've no guarantee. Whichever way this goes, be ready to ride."
Fantastic. Korak, you're up.
Okay. So he will spin his blade down, come up behind the legs as well, and try to trip him up.
Oh, so you're using the trip exploit?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. 10, 20, 25, 28, 30.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Okay. So he is prone, but I also do damage when I do that.
So he sweeps you with his spear, catching you on the back of the heel.
And that's 20 points of damage.
Good heavens.
And now you get what? You get a plus 1d6 to attack them prone? Or is it 2?
It is... I'm not sure. I've always meant to take a exploit that takes more advantage of being prone. Nathan, do you remember?
What's the question? Sorry, I was...
When your opponent is prone.
In this particular situation, he himself is a trained gladiator, and with his arm and everything like that, normally, yes, the prone condition would give you plus 2d6. However, in this instance, he's still able to defend himself rather adequately with his arm. So you're going to get plus 1d6 because he's prone.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I will continue with my attack. So the second one, and that is 26, 30, 32.
To hit? Yeah, that's a hit.
To hit, yeah. And that is 10, 15, 20 points of damage again.
Okay.
Now, normally I have 3 attacks, but does Trip actually do anything? I mean, is it take up an extra action or not?
Any exploits are just one. Now, I will say this, that I don't think the Trip would count as an attack. You're simply able to deal damage when you do the Trip exploit.
Right.
And yeah, your triple attack is when you attack for your first 2 actions.
Right.
And
okay. So I'm done for this round.
Yeah, so you catch him in the back of the heel with your first hit, and it brings him down. And then as he's falling down, you swipe up and you catch him on the back with your other part of your spear. Locrius, you are up.
Okay, so let me, just because I'm unfamiliar with the system, how does standing up from prone work, and how does disengaging work? Are those like actions, or how does it work?
Disengaging, there is no disengage. You simply move away, and there's no attacks of opportunity or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Getting up from being prone is one action, but for the sake of drama, I could let that be a free action.
I mean, let's play it fair. If it's an action, it's an action.
All right.
So I think that that's what'll happen. I think that he'll. What was
I mean, with Gladiator, I mean, the one thing that I have is Gladiator tricks or skills,
Oh,
and
quick
one of them
stand.
mine is quick stand.
Yeah, you.
All right, well then I'll take it. If this is Gladiator on Gladiator, so
Yeah.
I imagine that taking the blows on the ground, I imagine he does a quick kip up to his feet,
Yes.
and with a backward somersault, he lands on one hand, panting, bleeding. You've learned some tricks since we last met, but so have I. He whips his arm up in the air, and you see the tendrils, the strange, weird tentacles recoalesce, this time not into a blade, but into a large, flare-like bludgeon. And he waits for his opponent to approach.
So he's holding action. So at any point after you take an action, Korak, he can act.
Okay. So, well,
Now, I don't know if you saw in the chat, I said while this is going on, Ishtar was going to get one of his joints ready. That's what he uses for alleviate condition.
Yeah.
But when I start doing that, will the nose actually do anything? It'll just be rooting around in my herbalism kit.
No, they're slavering, they're snapping at each other, but they seem to be purely focused on watching this fight.
Okay, so then Ishtar gets one of those ready.
Okay.
I don't light it to get the effect going, but I guess I'm doing. I'll tell you when Ishtar will do it, but I'm getting one of the alleviate condition track ready.
Okay.
okay. So, Korak is going to charge forward and come in to attack, but he's going to feint.
Okay.
So I assume that Lucreus is going to take action at this point.
Yeah, you have two. Let's see. Here's how I'll rule it. You have two choices. You can either attack back and or you can take a defensive stance and attempt to parry or dodge out of the way, and you'll get bonus to your defense for doing that.
I think he's going to attack back. There's the bloodlust of the pit, seeing his opponent into melee range. I imagine that he's just waiting to smash him with this bludgeon, so that's exactly what he'd do.
Okay, for this particular strike, I'm going to tell you it's not the same roll. You switched weapons, and I am going to throw in some luck dice for you. So this is what you're going to roll. And the last two of those, remember that if you roll 3d6, you roll 3 6s, it's a critical hit. But keep track of the last two on the list, because those are luck dice, and if they get 6, they explode.
Okay, well, I got no 6s, and I got a total of 30.
That hits.
Well, Korak, what was your attack roll? Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll. You're fainting,
Okay.
so go ahead and make an attack roll. He's
Okay.
just coming in ready for you, and instead of dodging or parrying or anything like that, he's going to try to come at you. And basically, whoever rolls higher lands the strike. Or actually, you'll both hit if
Okay.
you manage to hit him. Yeah. It'll just
I
crash
rolled
into
pretty
each other.
crappy that time. So 10, 13, 15, 16, 21.
Ooh.
So
Your spear goes just by his head, and if he had hair left, it would have cut it off. But he lands a massive blow with his mace right into your right shoulder, and it comes crashing down into you, and this is what you're going to roll for your damage, Lucreus.
Okay, here we go. Oh, that's 17 points of damage.
okay,
All right.
that one hurt.
Yes, and you are also... I have to pull up... I don't know why I closed the conditions.
Technical condition.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the original rules on this because I have them Here.
Which condition?
Something akin to being stunned or slowed or something like that. It's a blunt weapon he struck you with. Dazed, yes.
Dazed?
What's the first track of that?
You can only take one action per round.
Okay, now remember you can you spend an action to shake that off.
Right. Okay.
So yes, he crashes into you with that, and you are temporarily dazed.
Okay. So we both sort of acted at the same time now on that one. So now
It's
how
still
do we?
you used feint and attacked, and he kind of
Right.
held his action and then attacked at the same time you attacked.
Right.
So technically speaking, I think it's his turn.
Okay.
So Locrius, you're back up.
Absolutely, yeah. So I imagine that there's this tense moment as the feint and the other attack happen. He peers up. You can see the moonlight reflected in his eyes above his scarred face, and he says, "I'm going to smash you into dog meat, you miserable worm!" And he'll attack with that bludgeon again. That seemed to work well last time. So. I believe, though, that you said that last time you gave me some luck dice, so is it going to be less this time?
Yep, it's going to be back to normal there.
Okay, here we go. Okay, it's a 27. I got 2 6s, but that doesn't do anything, right?
Nope.
It still hits.
Still hits. That's 11 points of damage. It's same damage, right?
Yep, same damage.
Okay.
Okay, and the second blow is 23.
That will miss.
Awesome. I imagine that he's a little bit over eager, seeing that he's able to connect with the first two, and the second one is glanced off to the side by the deft spearman.
All right, Korak, you're up.
Okay. So I guess I will spend my action to try to shake this off. And I roll a 6.
There you go.
So
You shake off
I
your
am
daze.
no longer dazed. But it is now his turn again.
No, you have one more action to take.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will do strike through stone.
Oh, so as he comes at you with this strike, you see a light emanate from his shoulder, from his left shoulder, or his right shoulder, and it pulses through his arms and down into his spear, and it comes at you with this speed that you weren't expecting.
Can I, like, do a trigger word for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I put myself on the spot, and it'll be Brecon.
Yeah, just make up to like an orcish thing.
Okay.
Singa.
So no. So I did crit on that. I rolled double 6s.
Ooh, all right. This will be interesting.
By the way, I didn't say that Rory did.
Yes, I saw.
Yes, I saw.
Okay. So so that is 18, 19, 20, 21 points of damage. I got 1 6 that explodes. Another 6. So that's 27 points of damage. And 5 more. So 32 points of damage that bypasses soak.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It bypasses soak. Oh shit. So Locrius, he well, how do you see this happening? He has won. He has taken you past your hit points. How do you see it happening as epically as possible?
So I imagine that with the din, the cackling of a retinue of gnolls around us in this moonlit clearing in this campsite, I feel like I've won. I've landed blow after blow of this bludgeon against my opponent, and he's dazed. He's shaking his head, shaking it off, and I imagine that the arm, the tentacles recoalesce this time into the point of a spear, and he leaps forward 3 bounds through the air, silhouetted against the moon, prepared to strike, but not quickly enough. We see the spear of the spearman come up directly through his torso, piercing him like an African lion hunter destroying a lion in the jungle in the moonlight. Spitting blood. I imagine it's a horrible wound. It's like you said that the spear is all jagged and shit, right?
It's a basilisk tooth.
Oh my God, yeah. So it's like spitting blood. I imagine that he grabs the spear in front of him, and in one last desperate strike, the hand turns to a machete, and he's gonna slash it down, not at his opponent, but he's gonna try to destroy his opponent's weapon before he dies. Curse you forever. And he's gonna try to sunder his sword, if I may.
Yeah. So you've got the machete. It's machete damage. So that is what that is. I need to check the soak on a wooden object really quick.
It's exceptional. Remember that?
Oh yes, it's been reinforced by the blacksmith. That's right.
Yes.
So that's going to make a big difference.
It's probably not going to cut through it. I just felt like that's what he would just try to hurt this dude as much as he could. Oh, that's 14 points of damage.
Yeah. So when you come down on it with your sword arm, it crashes into his spear, and you leave this thick cut, this thick indentation in one of the brace parts of the spear, and it's one that's not going to easily be fixed or ever polished out. But alas, the cut was completely futile, and the last thing you see as you're sliding down on his spear is Korak's face. Korak, do you have anything to say?
I will say well fought.
I imagine he coughs up blood. Finally. A good death. And his eyes roll back in his head as he dies.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, so the fervor of the battle, as the body slumps to the ground, things go silent except for the heavy breathing and the slavering of the gnolls in the background. And as the blood pours out of the body of this disfigured person, you notice it's this odd, like, aquamarine color. Something has happened. Something's been done to this person that is, you could only assume, is very nefarious. It just seems not natural at all. Very repulsive, and it smells. It's pungent. The blood itself. And the gnolls, when this happens, a few of them lunge forward, but then they get stopped by another gnoll beside them, and a few, 2 or 3 will come over unassuming, offensively. They'll kind of come over sheepishly, and they'll begin to at the body that's left behind, and one of them grabs its foot with its mouth, and it starts to drag it away.
Let them have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as they get it within far enough away from you guys, they pile onto it, and they just begin devouring the corpse. And then once that's done, they disband and disappear into the night.
Okay. That
was a lot of gnolls.
Yes. How did they find me? That's another question.
Yeah, Tereska's is better.
Do you have any other former opponents that you left alive?
Yeah, probably.
Do any of them have weird tentacle arms?
Well, last time I saw him, he didn't. So I don't know what is going on here, but I don't think he acted alone. So
there is a bit of things. There's a bit of mess left behind when the gnolls are done. They didn't completely strip everything, and they pulled the clothes aside, and so there are pockets and stuff like that from the body that you could inspect to get any further clues.
Okay.
Gotta loot the pockets.
Nice. So I will look at that. So do I need a perception?
No, you don't need a roll to see the garment that he was wearing was black and red, and it looks like, Ishtar, when you get a look at it, it looks like the same cloak that was worn by the person at the gladiator pit who gave you that necklace that prevented Yathgal from finishing Korak off.
So he saved me in order to try to defeat me.
That's right, because I didn't see that person's face or anything, did I?
That's right.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend?
I guess I didn't see tentacles either.
Okay. Anything in the pockets? A note up from Mr. Bad Guy saying, "Kill him." Signed.
No.
Mr. Bad Guy.
Yeah, Mr. Bad Guy.
Signed. Plot reveal.
Right. Signed. Daniel. No.
Oh.
No, it's you find one thing in a hidden pocket on the inside of the jacket. And that little thing is a pin. And it's an emblem that you've been shown by Daniel. And it is the emblem of the dragon's hand.
Okay.
Okay.
So he was part of the dragon's hand.
And apart
Yeah,
from
we were
that,
warned about them.
it has nothing else.
Okay.
Should we take that pin?
Yeah, I'll take the pin.
Yeah, absolutely need to take it.
Well, wait. Last time I gave something to Ishtar, it allowed someone to hunt him down. So let's take it to Daniel.
Yes, Daniel will have come down from the ship. At this point, you could hear the hoots and hollers of the howling and stuff like that, and the clanging of swords and stuff. He would have heard that and come down. So he would be there. He would come in the ring or the encampment after the gnolls left.
Okay.
Well, they lit a bunch of torches too. It probably made a beacon for the airship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What about the 10 guys? Are they still around, or are they on the ship now?
You find one of their corpses. The other 9 are alive and at the camp, just making sure nothing else is missing. One of them was killed, though.
Oh. That's not good.
No, it looks like he's had his throat torn out by a gnoll.
Okay.
And he's laying on the ground with a dagger next to his opened hand, with a little bit of blood on it. Yep.
Tarask is going to walk over to him and just take his dagger and put it in his hand and close it and kind of put it on top of his chest. And he's going to look over and just say to 2 of the other men, Joe, Bob, grab him, bring him back on the ship.
Okay. There you go. So yeah, they will. They'll take the corpse and they'll have some hesitation though. They want to bury it.
different traditions, I suppose. Yes, then
Yes.
go right ahead.
Yeah, they'll and actually one of the guys suggests burning it because he's like, those things were werewolves. I've heard stories about werewolves. They turn you into, and like a few of them are completely spooked and everything. They want to burn the
Those are not werewolves.
Ishtar will play a little song about, and he makes up lyrics about like what gnolls are and what the differences between them and werewolves are to the guys.
bodies. Make a charisma performance check.
It's like a PBS special. This is a gnoll, this is a werewolf.
15.
I think it's more like an ABC after school special.
After something like that, they are not amused by your song. One of them suggests throwing
Oh, that was
the loot
me.
in with the
That wasn't him.
with
Please
the-
don't punish him for
the
that.
fire of burning the body. They're like, grab the loot.
Okay. So actually, Korak would also bury the body of Locrius.
They dragged him away, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, they left part of him there.
Yeah, there's a few bones and some bloody bits.
Bones and bits.
Yeah, bones and bits. But the core of him has been devoured.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, bones and bits. The gnolls had the kibbles.
There you go. Daniel will approach you, Korak, and ask you if you are all right, and he'll lay a hand on you and heal you for 5.
Okay. Yeah, I am fine. I did not think that actions like that would have this type of consequence.
He puts his hand on your shoulder and he says, pride and arrogance are qualities that are difficult to shake, and as a Knight of the White Flame, you've done a great deed here in redeeming yourself for your past mistakes. And he'll hold his hand out and he'll ask to take a look at that pin you're holding.
Okay, I hand it to him.
He looks at it and he says, the dragon's hand. That must be how he was transformed into such a hideous beast. They have artifacts and magic that is should not be held by anybody. He must have made a deal with them. That's probably why he was willing to take your spear and spare your life. I told you that spear might get you in trouble.
Yeah. Well, the only way they're going to get it is if they pry it from my cold dead hand.
And he looks at you and he hands you the pin back and he says, "That is what I'm afraid of." And he finishes laying his hand on you, and your cuts and bruises disappear. And he'll begin making his way back to the ship. And he says, "You're free to sleep on the ship," as he's walking away.
Right. I mean, we've had enough rest for the night.
Yeah.
So I think Korak would probably see if there's a spare bottle. And like I said, he would dig a grave for what's left,
Okay.
bury them, spill a little on the ground, and then drink to him.
And Trask is just going to meditate until the sun comes up and until everyone's done doing what they're doing. Just to get some of that rest in.
I think I shall join in meditating as well.
Dane, do you have your little dragon pet friend with you?
In this case, yes, I did.
Okay. It you notice the wound on its side, and you notice this throughout the trip. One of the myths that was circulated at the temple about, or not at the temple, but in the literature when you read about dragons and stuff like that, one of the myths that you may have heard was that they were completely immortal and that they were these great gods to be revered and so on. But this little guy, from that time that Ishtar's lute string broke and snapped him, he still hasn't fully healed, and in fact, he has what you think now to be and will be a permanent scar on his side, leading you to believe that if ever there was a myth that dragons were immortal, it sure doesn't seem like it. And it comes out of your bag, as the things quiet down, and it will. It's awake. It's not going to go back to sleep. Right. And one of the things it does as it's kind of crawling about you, and it kind of is looking around. It's looking around much more observantly. You notice it's matured over this. You guys have spent about a week in the airship, making your way up this way, and it seems to have matured even in just that little bit of time. Its little stubs where its wings want to grow have come out a little bit further. You see you see tiny little ridges on the outside of it where a wing might start popping through any moment now. And it sees a little firefly flying about in front of you and everything. And it's just watching it, like it's intent on focusing everything on it, and then you see the dragon begin to slowly disappear in your hand, and then it kind of does this whirlwind effect kind of thing, and it turns into a little dragonfly and begins to fly around a little bit and comes and lands on your forehead, walks around and whatever, lights up its light, holds it on a little bit, kind of tests whatever, and then it'll fly back down onto your hand and then transform back into the little dragon.
Dane, hold still. I got it.
What's going on? Ishtar hides his loot.
Yeah.
Well, my little friend. I look down at it and say, well, my little friend, it seems you have much to teach me.
Yep, it'll climb up on your head and curl up, go invisible, and go back to sleep. That seemed to have really tuckered it out doing that. The rest of the night goes.
So it can polymorph.
Yes, this is the first time you've seen it ever do such a thing.
Okay.
Yep, and when it did, it appeared to gain, the same functions that what it polymorphed into could do. It could light its butt and fly.
I make a mental note of this. And I make a point to obtain as soon as possible something that I can use to journal this information.
Yeah, you could ask the captain of the Anchored Fortune for a small pad, and he would hand you a he has basically a stash of captain log journals, and he'll give you like the last one out of there at the end of his stack, and hand it to you, because that one hasn't been dated or anything like that, and it's basically an empty log journal that you can chronicle.
Okay, I'll take the rest of my time up until we get ready to move on from the end of this encounter to whenever we make our next move. I'm going to sit there and start writing just meticulous notes over everything regarding the dragon over the course of this time from when it hatched to now.
Cool. All right, sounds good. And if nothing else, if nobody wants to do anything else for the rest of the night, the sun will indeed make its way up. in the morning, and you have about a 15-mile ride on horseback to get to the entrance to Lane.
Okay.
Um,
I kind of see us like mounting up and everything.
No.
And Ishtar is getting on his donkey.
yeah.
And
Right.
you know, he's Taras is kind of just like, you know, holding his horse and kind of like backing his horse up and kind of like moving it over by pressing into his side with his left foot, and just kind of turns the horse around, just kind of looking at him. He's like, that's gonna be one bumpy ride, my friend. And he says, but come on, Sancho Panza, let's ride.
And they ride into the sunset. Yes. Fantastic. Ishtar, do you have a rebuttal?
Ishtar's probably fighting for his life right now, trying to ride this donkey.
Hey,
He's got like
I'm
both
as
legs
good
out.
shape in terms of riding as you are.
And by the way, I mean, this is sort of the first time we've talked about our mounts, but you will notice that Korak is a huge, massive horse. It's a heavy war horse. It is blood red in color, and its eyes sort of are red, and in the evening and that almost look like they glow.
The Tarask rides, I believe it's referred to as a palomino coloring, like a yellowish tan. Much shorter horse than Korak's, but it has, you'll notice as you ride, an interesting gait to it, which is sort of like a middle gear, where its legs kind of move at this very efficient method, and it gives a very smooth ride for the rider at that speed.
Almost like a dressage horse would go.
No, it's not a dressage. It's the Scandinavian horses like literally have a middle gait between trot and gallop, and it's hard to explain. I think you'd have to kind of see it, but it's just a middle gait, and it keeps a very level run on their for any rider.
Okay. And then as for my horse, it's just a standard regular horse, but it's for lack of a better term, the coloration is almost if you think of how a calico cat is, almost that same kind of blended coloration.
And Ishtar's on a donkey. Ishtar, have you named the donkey?
I was gonna. Is it male or female?
It is a female and an ornery one.
Its name is Gigi.
Yes.
Actually, no. Kenya.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, Kenya. So
It's a brown donkey. Ears are probably kind of down. Maybe black mane.
Kenya,
the
female donkey. There we go.
Like the pit boss's secretary, like Kenya.
So, really quick, Korak, the strike, just in case it comes up, the strike through stone, you will not be able to use that for another 24 hours. So,
correct.
Today, basically, your strike through stone is shot.
Yep.
Okay. Great. So you guys make your way, albeit a little bit slower than probably anticipated because of Kenya, the female donkey.
Caleb, roll 2d6. And do not count sixes or ones.
Yeah, we could generate the donkey. Why not? I forgot they had donkeys in here.
I rolled a 6 and a 5.
Reroll the 6.
Okay, re-roll the 6.
All right, now I have a 2 and a 5.
So 7 speed.
Okay, I'll keep track of that speed. 7. Okay. And let's see what kind of quirks we've got here. It's at the end of the equipment book, right?
On the roll,
It's
the roll
page,
stuff.
page 107.
Page 107. Okay, yep. So roll 3d6, Ishtar, and multiply that by 10.
Ignoring ones and sixes again. I'll re-rolling them.
Multiply by 10, that's 80.
Okay, so your donkey can carry 80 pounds. How much do you
That's
weigh?
not good.
So the donkey is reduced by 1 speed increment, so its speed is actually 6. So carry increment is 80 pounds. And now roll jump is going to be pathetic. Roll 1d6 for the vertical jump.
5.
Or that might be
Okay,
horizontal.
7 for vertical.
That's 7 for horizontal.
Roll it again.
Okay, yeah, 7 for horizontal. So 7 long. And roll 1d6 again.
3.
3, so 2. It can jump
2 for vertical.
2 feet high and 7 feet long at a full gallop. All right.
Now roll 2d6. Now roll 2d6 and give the 2 numbers.
Right. Roll
separately.
them one at a time. It's a D66.
A 1 and a 6.
Okay, your donkey is intelligent. The animal is unusually intelligent and has a logic attribute of 3 and can understand basic instructions.
Nice.
Do that again.
Roll one more.
That's great for a start.
Okay. One more time.
Yep.
How many dice?
Just 2.
One at a time.
A 1 and a 5.
Lame. Oh no. The mountain has a bad leg or foot. Reduce its speed by negative 1d6. So roll a 1d6.
5.
Oh god, speed is 0.
No, it's 1.
It's 1, yeah.
Yeah, Kenya the donkey. You know what? They wouldn't have given you a lame ass donkey. Re-roll that one because that's just not feasible for this. It's funny, but it's not.
Is that the 1 or the, which one was that? The 1 or the 5?
I just re-roll the whole thing again. Just roll
2 and 2.
skittish. So anytime
Skittish.
you're attacked in melee combat and you're on the donkey, there's a 1 in 6 chance that it will just run in a random direction at full speed. So skittish.
Which is slower than you.
Right.
or maybe about the same speed.
My speed's 5, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too bad you didn't roll 24.
So while you're not on it, its speed is 7, but while you're riding it, its speed is 6. Okay. So.
Better nothing.
Yes. You guys make your way to the... It would have been funny if you rolled a 63, emaciated. You make your way to the gates of Lane. Everybody make perception tests as you come up to the entrance of the city.
$15.
15.
19.
Fantastic. You all see there are 2 guards with crossbows in their hand and longbows on their back standing atop the gatehouse, and there are 2 guards at the bottom of the gatehouse holding standing sentry with spears. They also have large kite shields on their back with a sword hilt poking up and out. And they're just standing guard.
Right. Dane, do these look like the normal guards?
Let's see. This will be would this be logic history?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's see how well you remember.
12.
By your best guess, they don't look any different. I mean, they look vaguely familiar. So you think,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, their armor isn't any different than, I guess, armored guards wear that I would have seen.
Okay. I don't see any difference from before. We should be good to come in, provided they let us in.
What is our story before we get there?
Is Daniel with us?
No.
I can play. I am Ishtar the Brave, traveling minstrel. I am stopping on my way to Lane, and this was my entourage.
Tarash just kind of looks over at him on his donkey, and it's just like, not today, Ishtar. I don't think that's the plan for today. He looks over at Dane. Dane, you spent almost, half your life here, perhaps. Do you not think you can talk us in?
I will give it my best attempt. Let's see. Sorry, out of character. I'm trying to think. Because I don't know. Because again, my character has always gone by Dane since he joined the monastery. He doesn't even remember his real name anymore. So, and I'm also out of character forgetting what we were doing here, what our intentions were.
You were
So
sent by the lords and ladies to figure out what is going on with Lord Gaiman and why he has not come.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
However, I don't think we should mention him at this time until we know what's going on in the city.
Okay. We could say that we've been sent by the lords and ladies of great. Now I'm forgetting the name of the city that we were just from.
Nala.
Nala.
Of the land.
Nala.
They were from all over the place.
Right.
Okay. Yes, but I can say
Minstrel entourage.
What's that?
The traveling minstrel entourage could work.
Tarash kind of
Yeah, but
sighs.
how far is that going? How far in is that going to get us?
The gate. Maybe.
As you guys are talking, the guardsmen are going to the guys up on the watchtower are going to roll perception tests, see if they spot you guys.
Somebody roll 30 and just recognize me.
They've not noticed.
There's no
you yet.
guards. Okay, there's no guards at the ground level, correct?
No, there are 2 guards at the ground level.
2
Okay.
yes, guardsmen with spears. They appear to be adorned in chainmail, and the guardsmen up top appear to be wearing leather.
Okay. Makes sense.
The
Big tough.
ones on top have crossbows and longbows, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Fine. Minstrel it is. Anything that gets us in past the doors to start. We could take it from there, I suppose. And he looks down at the Ishtar again. It's just... Think you could pull this off?
Just gives you a smile and says, "It's me."
Yeah, he says as you push your beasts of burden forward towards the gate at the lane. Now, as you approach, the watchmen see you from fairly far off, and you see them talking and looking at each other, and you guys are kind of plodding forward and everything. And once you get at a certain point, they fire their crossbows at you. Whoa, good lord.
Sorry.
Bless you.
They fired crossbows at us?
Okay.
They fire one at Ishtar and one at Tarask. Now,
Tarask is going to use his newest exploit, which he has not yet had an opportunity to use, so thank you for this. And he quickly pulls an arrow out of his quiver, bow already carried as usual, and shoots down the shot that is shot at him.
awesome, perfect. And as you're doing that, the crossbolt that is going towards Ishtar criticals, and
Jesus.
it hits you in the shoulder for... Oh, there's an explosion, so 11 plus 5 is 16 points of damage as it sinks into your shoulder, and your donkey goes ballistic, and it just starts running left as fast as it can. So you see Ishtar with a crossbow in his shoulder get taken off into another direction, and the guards at the bottom now are sprinting towards you.
Should we roll initiative?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm.
11.
17.
15.
24.
Okay, that all came really fast. Hold on. So I heard 24 for Korak. Tarask, what did you get?
11.
11. Dane, what did you get?
17.
17. And Ishtar, what did you get?
15.
15. Okay, they are going to roll their initiative. I'll roll once for the guards. They get a 14. And once for the knights. And, oh, they also roll a 4d6. So, they get a 16. So, the knights will act after Dane, but before Ishtar. And the watchmen will go last.
And remember, those of you riding, you get a +4 to your melee defense. You get a +1d6 to hit and a +1d6 damage. However, if you are knocked off, you take 1d6. And Rory will be right back.
Okay. So first up then is Korak.
Okay. Well, I don't like the fact that they just shot at us without, like...
And they waited until you were fairly close. They're about 60 feet out, running towards you full speed.
Okay, so my Bloodfire moves at 14. So I can easily close the distance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I will, they attacked us and unprovoked, so I have no problem returning. So
you rear your horse up and you're coming in with your spear.
15, 20, 26, 27.
He attempts to parry the blow, but you see his attempt in time, and you angle your spear down, and you catch him in the side.
Okay.
And it bites through his chainmail. In fact, what you notice is it bites right through his chainmail. The armor that he's wearing appears to be very old and almost completely ineffective.
Okay. 18 points of damage.
Yep, you slice into him pretty good.
Okay.
And so that would be both your actions, move and attack. The next up would be Tarask.
Okay. I don't know if he's back yet.
Oh yeah, no, I'm back.
Okay.
So everyone's already gone because I'm probably last, right, with an 11.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't arrange you guys here in the right order after I put your numbers in. So hold on. Tarask, you down there.
I will be right back though.
Okay. And then Jane would be next. No, Jane would
Okay.
get 17. Yeah, okay. So after Jane.
17.
There we go. Yep.
Okay. So, I will move to flank Tarask. So,
You mean Korak?
flank it with the Korak. Thank you.
And you're
Flank
moving
with
on your
Korak.
horse, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
What's your horse's speed?
Hey. I just had that up.
'Cause they are
it
about
is
60 feet out.
15.
15, yeah, that's
15.
plenty. Yep.
Okay. And so, so it's going to give me an 8d6 to attack total.
Now,
And I'm actually using my quarterstaff on this.
the flank, you have to be diametrically opposed to him, positionally speaking, and I don't see how you would be able to get around to his backside, stop the horse, and then charge at him from behind,
Okay.
all within one action.
All right, then I'll just go after the other guy.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
7d6. This is I can't use my feint because I'm moving in the attacking. So.
Right. Now, are you
This
attacking
is
with
just
your
straight.
fist?
No, I am attacking with my quarterstaff.
Okay.
I'm essentially going to take a big swing at his head.
Okay.
Lots of ones. 6, 12, 18, 21.
Oh, he is able to parry your attack, and
Okay.
and yes, it doesn't get through. Next up are the knights, and is Korak back yet? Yep. Okay, he's back. The knight that you just struck, he is going to turn around and will turn to you and attempt to strike you. Now, while you're on a horse, can I attempt to hit your horse? I cannot remember.
They basically say normally the mount does not get hit and lose health in combat, nor does it attack. The rider and mount are treated as one entity
Okay, yeah. Unless
a dismount exploit is used.
Okay, I got it.
An attacker can choose to specifically attack a mount. The cost is minus 2d6 to attack.
Oh, and it subjects him to a free attack from you. Yeah, so
Yes.
he's going to attempt to...
Go ahead.
Yeah, get to you. Let me see his roll really quick. So, 76. He rolls a 28 to hit.
Oh, wow. That's exactly what he needed.
Okay, all right, great. 4d6 plus 5 damage.
Damn.
Got a little strength on him.
Yeah.
21.
Okay.
He smashes his sword into you, and then he brings it back around for another attack. With a 24 to hit.
That misses.
That one misses. Okay. The other knight that Dane attacked is going to bring his sword to bear at you. First roll is a 19.
Misses.
He misses with his first attack. He comes back around with a 30 on the second attack.
That definitely hits.
Yes, it does. So we switch back over to that. 4d6 plus 5 is 17 points of damage to Dane.
Okay.
Next up is Ishtar.
Ishtar is on a donkey running away.
In fact, why don't you make an animal handling check to see if you can calm this beast down?
Hey, what if I don't have animal handling?
Then it's just charisma.
Charisma.
Okay, I'm not bad at that. I'll throw in a luck die for this. Oh, luck die explodes.
Ooh.
Wow. That's a 23.
Yeah, you're able to calm Kenya down. And,
So as he first bolts off, you probably just hear him going, Kenya!
oh, what the hell?
And then finally gets a hold of himself. He's like, Kenya, calm down. And I do like the crocodile Dundee thing.
Yeah, so she got about 20 feet off in another direction before you were able to calm her down. So you're about 80 feet out from the knights.
What's my range?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, you guys ran up to them 60 feet away. Yeah, and you ran another 20 feet out, so yeah.
That's the range. It's times what for the range?
What weapon do you have? You have a short bow?
No, I have a crossbow now. It's 10 range.
Times 5, so that's 50 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're within your first range increment, so you subtract 1d6 from your attack roll.
That's not bad.
Or
So
you're out of your first range increment. Yeah.
So as soon as he gets Kenya calms down, he kind of like turns it around, gets his crossbow out, sees the first knight, and just lets loose a bolt. I rolled 4 3s. Do I get something for that? So 12.
A 12. Oh, it looks like it's gonna hit square in the head, and it sails at the last moment up past his shoulder. Now you have another action, but you can't fire the crossbow again.
What was my first action? It was probably the animal handling roll.
I was in my mind. I was seeing that you were doing that as soon as the donkey starts running off and away. So I wasn't gonna deduct you an action for that.
All right, so I got the shot off.
Yep.
I guess I'll start. I don't know if donkeys really run, but start trotting back closer. If I can move enough to get in my original range increment.
Yeah, so you can definitely do that. The donkey moves at a 6 speed, so you can move another 30 feet.
All right, so then I'll move that full 30 feet, and I guess I'll be reloading, cranking a crossbow doing it.
Yeah, and you look awkward as hell doing that on the back of a donkey.
Oh, I'm sure. With an arrow stuck at her shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Next up would be Tarask.
Okay, so Tarask is, after he just shot that arrow out and Korak ran forward, so he's going to pull 2 arrows out and heal his horse a bit. He's moving forward. He's just basically, I'm not exactly sure what the range is here. I don't think I wrote it down, unfortunately, but I'm just going to say he rides forward until he's within a range that he doesn't take a penalty. Which he should be able to, because he was next to them anyway.
Oh, with the longbow? Yeah, you're already within range from where you're at.
Yeah,
They're 60 feet out. You've got a range increment of 18 times 5, so it's...
Okay, so I'm basically not fast galloping forward, but I'm moving forward at a decent pace, and immediately as I start, I pull 2 arrows out, turn the bow sideways, and fire both arrows, each going towards different targets.
Yeah, and they are within 5 or 10 feet of each other, and that's totally doable.
And the only thing is, one of them is engaged with Korak, so I believe I take a penalty on that attack.
Yes.
Okay, so what's that penalty?
Well, and the other one's engaged with Dane as well.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to take a penalty on both of
The
these.
2d6 penalty.
2d6 penalty. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Unless you have the draw bead.
huh. Oh, is that just a?
It's an exploit. It decreases that to only 1d6.
But it's like for any career.
Yeah, it's a universal exploit.
Okay. So I have 6. Okay, so I am going to add a luck die. To. No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize they were both engaged. Okay, so actually, I'm going to change this up. I'm going to use rapid fire. I'm going to fire both of these at the same target. So I'm going to use my first action to take aim.
Okay.
And then I am going to basically give myself that benefit on the first one. And then on the second one, I'm going to use a luck dice for the second shot. So that's going to be... So I'm -2, but I get 2. So that keeps it at 6. And the first attack is a 26. 2 6s.
That's a hit.
3.
Roll your
Okay.
other attack.
Yep. And that one gets 1 for the luck die, but takes a penalty, so it's going to be a 5 roll. And that one's 19.
That's a hit as well.
Okay, so both of these, I'm sorry, I should have said, I'm shooting at the one attacking Dane. So both of these are at that one.
Okay.
And now I will roll my damage.
And just like with Korak, the arrows sink in through this chainmail armor like this, like it's butter. And most of the soak is completely bypassed. This armor was not well maintained, and it is old and rusty and useless.
The first one is 11 damage on the first arrow, and 15 damage on the second arrow.
Ooh, all right.
Thunk.
Yeah, and they sink deep, and he starts coughing up blood, but he's still standing, but just barely. He's holding on to life just barely. Fantastic. Next up are the Watchmen, who will use their first action to fire the crossbows they have reloaded. One at Ishtar again. He gets a 6, 10, 13, 14 to hit your range defense, Ishtar.
Yep, that hits.
It hits? Okay.
It's very easy to hit Ishtar.
He hits for 9, 12, 14 plus 5 is 17. No. I'm sorry. That's the longsword damage. I was looking at the wrong thing. Let me go back up to back down rather to the Watchman. All right. There it is. Okay, so it's still... Okay, 16 damage for the crossbow bolt. And then as soon as he fires that crossbow, he just drops it on the ground and grabs his longbow and draws an arrow back and fires it at you. He rolls a 20 to hit.
That hits.
And he hits for 10 damage this time. Now roll a 1d6 for me, and let's see if Kenya goes crazy. On a 1, she runs away.
I got a 6.
There you go. She's standing firm. The other Watchman will fire his crossbow over at Tarask. And he fires, and he gets a 20 on his roll. On your range defense. I think you're muted, Rory if you're there. Hopefully he's there. Ruh-roh. I don't know his range defense. I'll roll the damage just in case. That'll be 17. Rory, you're getting shot. Yeah. Next attack will be a 19, and if that hits, it'll be 12 damage. Oh, you're back.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Does a 20 hit your range defense?
Ranged defense. No.
Okay.
My
Then,
range defense is 21.
okay, then neither does the 19. So you see a crossbow bolt go sailing right past your ear, and then an arrow come sailing down and hit the ground in front of your horse. And that's the Watchman's turn. Next up is Korak.
Okay, so I will now. So I'm like right there next to this guy now.
Yep.
Okay, so I will spin down at him again. And that is 10, 15, 20, 26, 27 to hit.
Yep.
Am I hitting them easily?
They seem to be fairly well trained fighters, so no.
Okay. And that is 25, 28 points of damage.
All right, you decapitate him.
Okay. Now, how far away is the other one?
It would require a move action to get over to the other one. He's
Okay.
probably about 10 or 15 feet away.
All right. How high is the wall?
That's a great question. How high do you imagine it being?
I don't know. Because I wanted to do a stunt.
So
It's the outer wall of a big city. It would probably be big.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's fairly large. At least the top of the gatehouse would probably be higher where the watchmen are firing from. So I'm just terrible with dimensions. Maybe 30 feet high?
30 feet high?
The top of
Okay.
And then the other thing is, Korak, that they came running at you, and they made it about 30 feet away from the wall by the time you got up to them. So you're still
Right.
about 30 feet away from the wall yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm on a horse
Yes, you are.
that moves 14.
That's fast.
Yeah. So, I can't jump that high. And the gates are open, right?
The gates are closed.
Oh, they're closed. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna pull out pull out one of my throwing spears and gallop towards the wall. And so next round I will be pinning one of the watchmen to the top of the tower.
All right, next up is Dane.
Okay.
A head rolls beside you, and Korak takes off towards the gatehouse.
Okay. Obviously, I have elemental fist, not elemental feet, but I could still probably, if I kick him, I would have good of a damage. But doing the 4 round attack, so it's going to be 8d8 attack. Go ahead and use the staff right now. You have got to be kidding me. 3 1s out of that. 3, 5, 10, 15, 19.
He parries it.
3 1s. That's what did it.
You have
And that was a 4-round attack, so.
Oh, what do you mean?
Okay. I used feint.
Oh, okay. All right, I got you. Okay, yeah. Next up is the knight, who has parried your quarterstaff to the side and is now he spins around with his longsword to try to catch you with a backhanded swipe, and he gets a 26 to hit.
That just hits.
Okay. He hits for 23 points of damage. And
Holy crap.
After he crashes his sword into you, he brings it back up, and then he brings it into his hand, and he tries to half hands it, or he half swords it, and he tries to cut the back of your knee to rend you. Yeah, so he's gonna take a negative 2d6 on his attack to attempt to slow you. He gets a 17 on his attack.
That misses.
Okay. All right. Next up is going to be Ishtar.
Oh. Yeah, Ishtar's barely holding on right now.
Just littered with arrows.
Yep, pretty much. Now, there's no, like, cover around here at all, is there?
I'd say you could find a boulder to hide behind, or something. If you use a move action, you could find something to go hide behind and get some cover.
All right. That'll be my move action. But while I'm doing that, I want to, like, as I'm like, I'll take a shot and then move.
Yeah. Okay.
Now the Watchmen are probably way out of range. So.
Let's see. What's your range increment on the crossbow again?
10.
10, 50 feet. Only one range increment out. So,
all right.
Just negative 1d6 to that.
And what about the one that's on Dane?
You would get a negative 2d6 on that because he's engaged in combat with Dane.
I do have to draw a bead.
Oh, you do? Okay, then yeah, he's definitely within range of...
I'm going to use a luck die to negate that, so...
Okay.
That's not bad. Wow, 22? 24, holy cow.
Damage or to hit?
No, that's to hit.
Yeah, oh yeah, you used it. It's a perfect strike, yeah.
And a whopping 9 damage. That's almost max damage for me.
Well, yeah, you sink it in his shoulder right above his heart on his chest, and he goes down.
Wow.
Yep. And then you and Kenya go galloping valiantly behind a boulder to hide for dear life.
And as we gallop away, you see Ishtar put his hand up like a cheer.
Next up is Tarask.
Sorry, I was muted. So he's going to have basically kind of slowed the horse a bit before he got right on top of Dane and his opponent. Kind of steers it a little bit to the right. I'm not like moving per se, but I just imagine horses don't stop on a dime. So he's kind of just slowed a bit to a jog, and he kind of like turns over and again pulls out an arrow, and he's gonna fire at least one at this guy.
Okay. At the one Dane's engaged with?
Yes. Well, actually, you know what? Again, I'm gonna carefully aim first.
Okay.
And so I won't. I'll take the penalty, but it'll still leave me with the same dice pool. So okay, so that's a 20 to hit.
Yep, that's a hit.
And that will do 14 damage.
Yeah, so he only had 4 hit points left. What hit him prior to that? Your 2 arrows, right?
My 2 arrows.
Yeah.
I hit him with my crossbow also.
Oh, and the crossbow.
Yeah, so he goes down.
He's a pincushion.
Yeah, he's basically just gets one in the neck as he's in the middle of attempting to half hand the back of Dane's knee and everything, and Dane gets out of the way, and this arrow comes and just sticks all the way through his neck, and he grabs it, he drops his spear, and he grabs it, and he slumps down to his knees, and then he slumps down onto the ground. After that happens, the other watchman on top of the gatehouse will, it's their turn. He is going to disappear from behind the gatehouse. Technically, Korak, it's your turn. You're currently galloping towards the wall with your spear. You are muted as well.
Do I have a chance to throw one spear?
He gets
before he disappears.
He gets out of view before you're able to get that spear off.
Okay. So the gatehouse is 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
How tall is the wall next to it?
Probably about 24 feet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. My horse is what? How tall are horses?
I don't know. I don't even know.
A warhorse?
A warhorse
Would probably be like over. Well, they're not measured in feet, really, but that would be
Measured
like a
in
20-something hand, 24 hand or 25 hand horse, probably. And I imagine Korak would want one on the bigger side.
Right. Yeah. So a hand is inches. So that's...
I'll tell you what. Tell me what you're wanting to do, and we'll see if we can finagle it.
I was basically going to jump from the top from my horse and try to leap up and grab the lip of the wall.
Okay, how high can your horse jump?
My horse can jump vertically 9 feet.
And then
He's 8 feet tall. I'm 7 feet tall, and I can jump 7 feet vertical.
you can make the jump check for me. And
Okay.
if you're going to do this, then yes, you can do a jump check. I'm going to set a difficulty for it.
Is this wall climbable?
Yeah, it's is it flagstones? They're basically is that sound right?
Well, flagstones are for the ground, but
okay.
probably ashlar. So stone, which would have horses and
yeah, like big concrete looking bricks, basically. Like they're laid like bricks, but they're large.
Okay.
So, yeah, you could climb the wall fairly easily. This is going to be a difficulty 16 jump.
I'm gonna throw in a luck die.
Okay.
And it did not explode, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fives. 29, 32.
Yeah, so a 32 is just, if you look at page like 122 in the Fantasy Core rules, a 33 is a Herculean difficulty, like bending a steel bar or climbing an ice wall. So you're 32, yes, you're able to manage huffing yourself up and landing on top of this wall. When you get on top of the wall, you notice that there is a small contingent of guards with a man leading them. He seems to be dressed much more royally than the other ones, but they are already opening the gates to the gatehouse by the time you land on top of that, and you get a view of the trailing of the guards and them coming in. The gate is opening, and the rest of you see the gates to the gatehouse opening up. And Dane, what you see before you almost like throws your world upside down. The person that you see standing before you leading this contingency of guards is in fact your brother. I can't remember his name. Do you remember? Do you have his name?
Aiden.